Hi, everyone. This is Robin Kinney with Detroit Women Podcast, as well as Motor City Woman Radio. I am here actually in California. I'm making this video in California at the National Association of Music Merchants, commonly known as the NAM show, because I'm learning all about the latest and greatest when it comes to audio to bring that back to Motor City Woman Radio, of course. But I wanted to make this video because I see that there is a ton of interest on how to monetize your show, whether it be a live show or whether it be a podcast. So I'm going to use those terms interchangeably. I'm just going to say show, but live or podcast. So that's what we're going to talk about this evening when it comes to improving the odds of monetization for your podcast. Okay, so let's get started. There's three different areas to consider when it comes to monetization. You can look at advertisers, you can look at sponsorships, or you can look at collaboration. Okay, so there is some overlap, but I'm just gonna go piece by piece to kind of give you some tips and things that I've learned over the past few years when it comes to monetization. First is advertising. So before you can advertise, before you can sell anything, you have to know what your product is. Okay, your product is your listening audience. So advertisers are always going to ask, well, who listens to your show? So that's information that you need to have already ready to go. What is the demographic profile of your typical listener? What do they like to do? How old are they? What is their average income? What is their education, their highest education level? So these are things that you can accomplish in various different ways, whether it be doing a survey, whether it be, having some Google Analytics, or then also you can look at Facebook Analytics if you have a show page on Facebook, which you should have. So once you have that information, you're able to look at advertisers as a way to monetize your show. Okay, so now that you have the profile of your listening audience, you now want to create like your menu. So having different price points for different packages for your advertisers is essential. You don't want to have a one size fits all, because one size does not fit all. How you approach like a pop-up boutique and how you approach a larger scale advertiser is going to be totally different. So you want to meet people where they are. So you want to have those different price points so people can see that, and see how rather they can fit advertising with you into their budget. So you want to give them options with these different price points. So the lowest price point, let's say maybe $200. And with that $200, they'll get, a verbal mention on your show. They may get a couple of social media postings throughout the week, etc. But then you have the opportunity when you have these different packages to upsell. You can say, okay, at $200, I can offer you a verbal mention and a couple of social media postings. However, if you go up to the $350 option, or even let's say $350 option, at that point, I'm able to actually have you live come on the show where you can sell it yourself and, you get some promo. We can do more social media with it. If you do have a website, I can post your banner on the website. So the opportunities are endless when it comes to that. One thing to keep in mind that I've seen a lot of shows do, and I've seen a ton of success with it, whether it be a live show or a pre-recorded show, is doing live remote broadcasts from events, or even creating a special event where you can broadcast from. So I'll give you an example. Do you remember MTV Unplugged? MTV Unplugged was where they had different artists kind of remaster their music with like a live band. And in between the songs, there would be some commentary about the song, and they would kind of give some background, and they would have a live audience. So it was super cool. You were able to kind of feel like you were behind the scenes. It was more of an intimate setting. So let's say you're looking at doing a live recording from an event. This is where you can sit down with, if it's like a nonprofit fundraiser, for example, sit down with the executive director, interview them right then and there. You can pull in some folks, some of the people who are attending the event, to do interviews. You can record this, and then you can repurpose this in a ton of different ways, whether it be, during your show, so you can play it later and say, oh, play this clip, when I did that live remote broadcast. Or you can also post it on your Facebook page and do some video with it. So you can really customize that. So maybe that's one of the options if you upsell to like a higher price point. So having those different price points is very important. Okay. And then we talked about that. And then we also talked about knowing who your listeners are, because that's essentially your product, is who you're selling. You're selling access to your listening audience. And if you don't know who your listening audience is, you won't be able to sell to anyone. Also, when it comes to, advertising, you also want to look at like the times throughout the year. Okay. So there may be special events throughout the year where people have different events coming up, and you want to align with those different events with your show. Okay. I'll give you an example. In the summer, you may see a lot of summer weddings. Okay. So let's say your show is talking about marriage, or talking about weddings, or planning, or how to be a gracious guest at a wedding, how to have the most fun at a wedding. Then you can actually go after some advertisers that are aligned with that. So you may have some wedding planners that want to come on and talk about, some of the things they've learned, some of the services they have. You may have some wedding venues that may want to advertise if you're talking about weddings and you're talking about marriage. So think about, as you plan your shows. Okay, so this goes back to, just some planning on the front end, planning out your shows, what you're going to be talking about, the topics, and then saying, okay, what's a business or an organization that's affiliated with this topic that may want to be on that show and may want to advertise during that show, since we're talking about this specific topic. Okay, so that's another way to do it. Okay, secondly, we talk about now sponsorship. So sponsorship can be a little longer term. It's typically more money. But on the flip side of that, sometimes there's no money involved, okay? And sponsorship goes both ways now. At Motor City Woman, I really like to sponsor events throughout the year that are aligned with our core mission at Motor City Woman, which is to amplify the voices of women. So we support women-centered, women-focused events and initiatives that support that mission. So when I say sponsor and being a media sponsor, that means I may donate time to an organization in exchange for them including my logo on, an event flyer, or, sharing on social media that I am supporting them. So this is a great way to increase your audience and expand your visibility. Okay, so sometimes you do have to, you have to give to get. Okay, so in doing that and supporting all these different initiatives and organizations, and of course be strategic about it. You're growing a relationship so that when that nonprofit or organization does have a budget for advertising, or let's say they have an event where they do have an advertising budget, you're the first person to come to mind because you've already created that relationship. I've seen so many times where people reach out to an organization or to a person for money and they don't even know them. Like, I don't even know what you do, what you're about. So I'm not even sure if I want to support you because I don't know you. Okay, so sometimes it's just about starting small, creating those relationships, reaching out to organizations and initiatives that are aligned with the mission of your show. Like, what is your show about? Why was it created? You know, to affiliate yourself with those types of sponsorships. Okay, so I talked about in sponsorship, you sponsoring events, but on the flip side, you may get contacted by an organization or most likely an event that's looking for a media sponsor, and they may have some advertising dollars. Okay, so a few things that you can consider is, again, going back to the live remote broadcast. Let's say you were contacted to be a media sponsor and to provide coverage for an event. You can not only then attend that event, do some on-site interviews, but then you can repurpose some of those clips in some later shows, like we talked about earlier. So the key thing when it comes to sponsorships is aligning yourself with organizations and initiatives. So just start researching what are some organizations and initiatives that I'm passionate about, that are aligned with my show. Start reaching out to those folks and introducing yourself. Maybe have someone on to do an interview and say that you're open to sponsoring any types of events that they have, in hopes that when and if they have advertising dollars in the future, you'll be able to reach back out to them to possibly work together. Okay, so those are a few ways: advertising, of course, with the small business owners, with organizations, with any type of business that is aligned with the demographic profile of your listener. Okay, so homework there: find out who your listener is. Okay, so looking at your Facebook analytics, if you have Google Analytics, and then sometimes just doing an old school survey is helpful as well, to know kind of like a typical average profile of who your listener is, because you're going to need that information. Also, I've started to see where different shows will cross promote. Okay, so they may do what I call like a mashup. So you may say, okay, I'll promote your show since it's on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock, in exchange for you promoting my show on Saturdays at 2 o'clock, because it seems like we talk about some of the same things and our listening audience may benefit from the cross promotion. They may want to tune in again later on in the week to my show, and then I'll promote your show to my listening audience that may not know about you. So that's another way to increase your listening audience, because with a larger audience, you're able to demand more money from those advertisers because you have the numbers to back it up. Another thing is identify a monthly focus. Okay, so we talked about earlier about planning out your shows, what you're going to talk about. It's very essential, because different months have different initiatives in it. For example, we have coming up International Women's Day. So of course, Motor City Woman, affiliated with women, we're all over that. We're doing a couple of special events, we're sponsoring events, we're doing some special segments just for International Women's Day. Why is that important? It's important because then you're part of the national and global conversation by utilizing the correct hashtags. Okay. When you start posting your show, then you're able to utilize those hashtags affiliated with that monthly focus, or with whatever that special global or national event is. And then people who may be following that hashtag will see your show come up. So they may not even be looking for your show, but there you are because you're part of the conversation. Okay, so it's something to think about. Another way to increase your profile so that you're able to demand more money from advertisers and sponsors is to make sure that you're listed on different directories: iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, the SoundCloud. The list goes on and on. You want to make sure that you are where other podcasts and shows are. So if someone's searching on there, they're able to see you and they're able to find you. Make it very easy for people to find you. Okay, and why is that important? Of course, because you want people to know, where you are, but also with traditional radio, people just get in the car and they turn on the radio and then they can just scroll through the dial. With podcasts and internet radio, people have to be looking for you. Okay, so when you're on these directories, they may just be scrolling through and you may pop up. So you want to make sure that you're included on all those different directories, so that goes back to your monetization, because your audience has grown and now you can ask for more money. Okay. I talked about cross promotion, a monthly focus, directory, sponsorship. Make sure that you like our Facebook fan page, which is Motor City Woman, but also that you join our Facebook group, Detroit Women Podcast, because that's where I'm going to not only be posting these videos, but that I'll be sharing, different tips that I've learned, over the past few years, and hopefully sharing some podcasts that are doing a great job so that you can see how people have grown their listening audience, or they're doing something non-traditional or something fun and new and exciting. So I'll be posting those different types of things there. Of course, if you are in the Detroit area, you want to check out Motor City Woman Radio Studios to record your podcast. For more information, you can just email us at hello@motorcitywoman.com. And of course, we want everyone to listen 24/7 to Motor City Woman Radio, where we feature a diverse array of live shows. We support podcast recordings as well as special events, and you can listen all day, every day at motorcitywoman.com. Thank you for watching this video. I'll be doing more videos to help you increase your audience. We talked about monetization. We're going to talk about attracting guests, a whole host of things. But if there's something specific that you would like me to talk about, feel free to just leave it in the comments or email me at hello@motorcitywoman.com. Again, this is Robin Kinney, reminding you all to live in the light. I will talk to you soon. Bye now.